Welcome to Full Circle with Lika, a place of self-expression and holistic exploration of the human experience. I am honored to welcome you on this journey towards liberation, joy, and freedom. Make yourself comfortable as we dive deep into spirituality, mindset, self-development, and random stories filled with life lessons. Let's step together in that space where we get to unleash our own magic.
Hola, hola. That's it. We're on. Lika, this is Mathilde. Today I'm taking over Lika's podcast to interview the one and only. And we were just dropping in before coming online. And the plan is to dive into the unknown and to explode. So, okay, what's moving through you right now? Tell me. There's a lot in the space. So let's voice what's here. Right?
There's a lot in this space. I've been very excited for this moment. Like I was really looking forward to it. Since we recorded a podcast together, I've been so activated. You've been in my dreams 3 times this week.
Hell yes. I dream a lot, so I'm not surprised. Tell me.
So I'm like, I don't know, just this whole activation. So I was like, I cannot fucking wait to be in that vortex we created again. Like I wanted this experience again. And right here, right now, I was on a call with a client that happens to be a very good friend of mine that lives in Mexico. And we are working together to create some retreats there and for me to fly my ass to Mexico. So in this space in my body right now, there's a lot of unknown and fear, and I was looking for this moment. So I'm excited, and I feel this feeling of like being on a first date. You know, you don't know, you was looking for it, and you're like, you know, I'm a bit intimidating, like, and I love to be in that space. Like it's, I don't know, I really love to be a little like. I don't know how to put that into words, but that's what it's in my body right now.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think the term first date, like the feeling you have on a first date with someone that you kind of, you want it to go well. I get what you're saying. And you said before, we had such a great time last time and you wanted to get back in this vortex. So I'm wondering, is there a little bit of attachment to what it looks like, or wanting to be in the same feeling as last time and the same vortex and the same energy, and maybe it won't happen like that? And are you wanting the exact same experience? Am I wanting that? Are we getting attached? Like, is there something there?
Yeah, 100%. There's I wouldn't say attachment, I would say expectation.
That's the word. Yeah,
like I'm expecting it to get me on the same high. It's like I think I can have this addictive personality of like, oh, when I'm into something, I'm into something. And I'm always looking for like this rush. And the other day I felt super great, and I'm loving this podcast anyway. I'm just in love with interviewing people. I love to talk and I love to do solo episode, but interviewing people is like next level. I think it activates something in me. I really, really love it. So I always kind of come with expectations that it provides me something that is going to make me feel really good, because I just picture it to go a certain way. And now I didn't have time to be in my head because I just jumped off from a call to being with you in the space. And you were just like, we opened this call and you were like mentioning the unknown. I was like, I just want to be held today, so just hold me. So I'm like in that process of surrendering as well, of like, we're in it now. And of course it's not going to be like last time. First of all, I see your face. The other day was just your voice coming out of my...
Yes. I love it. It's making me think of when I'm acting. So there is, or even musicians say that a lot, the second performance is always shit. Because when you open a play, I personally get so fucking high it's like I'm on some drug that doesn't even exist. I'm so high on the first night, the opening night. It's like, oh my God, where was I? And then day two, you want to get that high again, and it's impossible because you want to get it. So I'm in my head, and then it's like, and it's never as good because we're always trying to repeat the high of the first day. And one day I met like a famous French musician, and that's one of the first things he said to me. He was like, never worry about day two, it's always crap. I was like, okay, good to let go of the expectations. So it's making me think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you let go of expectations in your life? Do you have a process?
That's a very juicy question.
Mm.
Because I think I looked for years for a way to let go of expectations, because, you know, being in that spiritual community kind of, and having that as like my job title, which is also something funny. But I was like, okay, you know, expectations are wrong. I should be surrendering to the divine and be like an angel.
Mm.
And I think what helped me is to actually like own it. Like being like, I have
Yeah,
expectations, and like that's okay.
I
And I
love it.
feel like it doesn't have a grip on me anymore, because I'm like, okay, I have expectations. I kind of know it's bad and I shouldn't, but I'm like, fuck that. It's okay. I'm human. And when we do anything, we expect something. Like, I'm not going to start a business with no expectation. Like, of course, I'm going to expect that it's going to
Yeah.
go well. I'm not going to go on a date and don't expect anything. I'm going to go on a date and I'm going to expect that it goes well, and that I'm, you know,
Yeah.
that I feel good.
Yeah.
So I'm just embracing having expectations. And that's the part with like attachment. You were saying that it's like not being too attached to the expectations. It's just like, okay, I have expectations. It's running through my body. It's running through my mind, but
Yeah.
I'm not attached to it. And it's like reminding myself of letting life surprise me. And what helps me
Mm.
is to go back to events in the past where I really like expected something to go a certain way, and maybe it didn't go that way, but it was directing me into something so much greater that my mind couldn't even imagine. So I just have to think about
Mm.
that, and it gives me a little bit of okay, comfort. I'm good.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. I think, yeah, same. Sometimes there is this talk about expectations are bad. And like you said, yeah, if you open a business, you expect it to go well. It's just when it comes in between presence and, like you said, letting life surprise you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I want to do this acting thing with you right now.
Yeah, okay, let's do this. Talking
Okay.
about
I don't know
it,
if
no.
it I know, I don't know if it's very podcast friendly, but it's this practice that I love that is called repetition. And I think it's a practice that's good for anyone to have. It really drops you in presence and in vulnerability. Basically, where to, you look at the other person. So I would look at you and I would make a statement about you. Something, we can start with factual things like your eyes are brown. And then you would repeat, my eyes are brown. And I would repeat, your eyes are brown. And you would repeat, my eyes are brown. And we would keep repeating that sentence until something pops up, until I'm so present and looking at you that something genuinely pops up where I'm like, oh, you're smiling. And then you would say, I'm smiling. And I would repeat, you're smiling. And we would repeat that until maybe you have something in your head that pops up about me. And then you tell me, Mathilde, you're smiling. And I'm like, I'm smiling. And we keep repeating sentences about each other, about observations we make about each other. And the invitation is that it's okay to repeat the same sentence like 100 times if nothing genuinely pops up out of deep presence with the other person. Does it make sense?
Wow. I am
You know what I mean?
scared.
It's a little bit hard when you
I'm
know.
like, let's
Yeah,
do this. What the fuck is going on?
let's do it. I know.
I love it.
And we can start to get the gist of it with, like I said, factual things about, your hair is brown, whatever pops up. But then we can incorporate emotions if we want. I can say, oh, you're anxious. and you can say, I'm anxious. You always have to repeat it, even if you think it's not true for you. If I'm saying you're anxious, you have to repeat at least once, I'm anxious. And then you can say something about me later. So it's kind of also to see the projections we make on people and all the things.
So cool.
Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And the one rule is to always keep eye contact.
Okay.
You're smiling.
I'm smiling.
You're smiling.
I'm smiling.
You're smiling.
I'm smiling.
You're giddy.
I'm giddy.
You're giddy.
I'm giddy.
Your eyes are brown.
My eyes are brown.
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 You're breathing.
I'm breathing.
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 You're laughing.
I'm laughing.
You're getting serious.
I'm getting serious.
You're getting serious.
I'm getting serious.
You're getting serious.
I'm getting serious.
And you can make observations whenever you want as well. It's like a two-way thing.
Okay.
But you don't have to. You don't have to. You're confused.
I'm confused.
You're confused.
I'm confused.
You're confused.
I'm confused.
You don't like saying that.
I don't like saying that.
You're not sure about that.
I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure about that.
That's so powerful.
That's the gist of it, you know? How was it for you? What's coming up for you?
I just kind of feel like it's hypnotic. And I'm like, am I saying the truth, or am I playing? Or am I playing, or am I saying the truth? And what is the truth of me? And like, does it feel good in my, does it feel true in my body when I have to repeat something about me that I didn't choose? That's just so, I feel like my mind is kind of exploding right now.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. You're being aware of like the dialogue inside.
Yeah. I feel like I'm getting lost into that place of like, what is true and what isn't. What is my truth? And I'm just getting lost in it. And I'm like,
I'm getting chills.
Yeah. Oh, my head goes into like, are you repeating what she's saying, or are you speaking a truth? Are you repeating, or are you saying a truth? Eyes are brown is like, yeah, I can say that out loud, but like, you're confused already. I'm like, I'm confused. Am I confused? Maybe not. And then you don't like to say that. I don't like to say that. Don't like? And then I'm like, I don't know anymore. I keep repeating it, so I get lost in it, and it's really unfamiliar in my body.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love what you said about you're getting lost. There is like this mirroring that we're doing, and we're getting lost in it, and it's making me think of almost Buddhism, where in the end it's all emptiness. Everything is a mirror. So when you're saying, is it true, is it not true, like in the end, is there even a truth? Isn't it all illusions? What we're doing, what we're saying, even what we're feeling, we're not our emotions. You know what I mean? So what is true? And I think this exercise at the end, sometimes as actors we do it for an hour, and in the end it brings a lot of people in deep presence, because you get lost into all those things we're saying, those projections. And so the only thing you can do is really be present, be in the moment, because otherwise the chatter that is in the mind becomes too much. So it forces me to let it go and really be present in the moment and actively listening to the other person, because when I'm not fully listening to the other person, I get this chatter in my head about, is it what I'm thinking? Is it not? Da, da, da. Every time this happens, I'm not listening. I'm in my internal dialogue about who am I? Da, da, da. I love this exercise.
I want to do it more. Like I want to do it for an hour, like with someone in front of me, actually in the room. Like I cannot even imagine, because
Yeah.
we're looking into our own eyes, but not really, because the camera is not where you know what I mean? So I cannot imagine if you're in the presence of someone in front of you looking into their eyes. Like I just think it will be even more powerful. And what came through also was like this perfectionism of like, okay, we are doing an exercise, so you need to be good at it. Okay, so she's like, you repeat, okay?
I know, I love it. I love it. It's such a simple exercise that brings up so much. And it brings up triggers too sometimes when someone is saying, you're angry. If you don't like being angry, you're like, I'm angry. And you kind of, and when you, and the thing also is when you say the words, if I was to say I'm angry and I'm not angry, I can show it in my energy and in my body. You know what I mean? It also invites a lot of subtext in where the words become a little bit irrelevant. And, anyway, that was fun.
That was amazing.
I've seen that you've been getting into your inner actress lately. Can you tell me about that?
Where do I start? I think it's really because of our podcast together that it put words onto something I was already doing. Because I invite in all of my work, and what I love to see the most with my client, and what I love to play the most with myself to invite people in the same journey, is playing with different archetypes. Right now, I'm leading, my awakened goddesses, and I ask them, what archetype do I choose to embody this week? Like I'm inviting them to embody / play with some archetypes. And the girl were asking me yesterday, how do you actually choose it? Like, and another was asking me like, so remind me, what are the archetypes, like the mother, the maiden? And I was like, whatever archetypes, like you could be like last week I was like the sexy millionaire healer, like I make this shit up. Like there is no like, choose something you want to embody and stick to it. That's something I was doing, and I think that part of my spiritual journey was about recognizing that I had many different facets and being okay with that, not having to choose one, because I've been doing that, and I think that was reflecting in my relationships as well, where people were like, well, like, you're confusing me, like you're so many different facets of you, like you cannot be this and that the other day. And I never really could understand, like, why not? So now in my work I have more freedom to do it. One day I will be the seductress, and the other day I will be the silly child, or the other day I was just wearing a mustache, and it's just like
I love that.
I'm just playing with myself. And since the podcast with you, where it's like what you do, like it's like what you do, and that was the whole invitation of like not being attached to. I remember you saying like, I look at myself in the mirror and I was like, this is weird, like I have a body, and what is it that I'm looking at, and like, let's play with that. And I decide to be whatever I want when I want. I've been doing that, giving just myself, seeing my life as a movie. Why not? Just really, why not? It gave me so much freedom that now I'm like, I don't get attached to like how I'm presenting anymore, because I'm like, I'm gonna be that for today, but tomorrow I'm gonna play with another thing. And also being able to move from one energy to another really fast. So I've recorded videos where I'm like super high and super like, I don't give a shit, and like I'm so like, I want to play in that. And I have this very like, it can be almost very annoying, and then in 2 seconds I will drop into like, no, but let's connect, to be able to shift from one to another, to like very like loud and I don't give a shit, to I can also drop back into like my power and how deep I can feel and how deep I can bring you, and how like like this thing in me that I love, of like being so passionate about everything, but this kind of deep, dark, almost passion of like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do weird stuff, and I want to explore, like, and to drop from one another so fast. It's just, to me, that's like acting in my life. It's like I can play.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. You're such an actor, dude. But I actually think working with archetypes and shape shifting is a work we share between actors and mystics. It's really the essence of it a lot, I find.
So much,
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
And I'm so
Mhm.
glad we recorded this podcast and we put like another perspective, because also I was really interested in having like people that are not like spiritual mentors, because I'm like a little bit like overdosed with that, even though it's like my job and what
Mhm.
I'm doing and what I'm passionate about.
I know.
I just want to get out of this world for a second. And I
Mm.
wanted to bring more creative people. So it's like explaining the same thing, because it goes back to the essence
Mhm.
of life and
Exactly. It's life.
yeah. So, but it's just another, like, it's like a diamond, and you can look at it through one facet, and then you look at it through another facet, and you're still looking at the same diamond, but from a different approach. And yeah, it's just so amazing. And I'm like, I remember being like, it brought so much memories of me being in a high school and just being a show. Like, I was just like playing with that, playing with my voice, playing with stuff, and like, I don't know where I lost it along the way, where I tried to stick
Mhm.
to one archetype and stay in the boundaries of that.
Mhm.
And the funny thing that I shared with you, I think I shared it with you, is that I went to the beach and I went crazy on it, and like, I just was in the embodiment. So I was not even dancing, so it was not pretty
Mhm.
looking,
Mhm.
but I was like, embodying my sexuality and like being very,
Mhm.
very sensual. And then I will go into rage, and I will like jump on the earth and scream on the beach. And like, at first I felt uncomfortable because there were people around. So I always had this little bit of like, this is it, I'm gonna be the weirdo of the beach again. But
Mhm.
I kind of enjoy it as well. And then I go into, look at me, I'm on fire, And then, so
I love that.
that's why I felt like my inner actress has been like fucking activated, because I also like to have my audience.
I know. How good is it to like be on a stage and have an audience? It's so much fun. I love it. I love it. I want to be on stages more. We're gonna create a stage together. It's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll tell people more about it soon, but we're gonna create a stage together for sure.
Yeah.
You said you want to do weird stuff. Like what kind of weird stuff? I'm interested in your weirdness. What are the weird stuff you want to do or be?
Oh, that's such a good question. I love your questions. I want to do all these things that popped up in my head. Like,
Mm.
I want to hug people, and I want to do eye
Mm.
gazing, and I want to scream loud and go in the forest and hug the trees, and like all the weird stuff that, basically that I had to do by myself, but I want to bring it with people and explore with other beings. And I want to, the
Mm.
weird stuff, I think it's also going back to this innocence of,
Mm.
I was thinking about a random thing the other day. I was on the shower, and I was thinking about like how when I was, there is a lot of work to do around nudity and how it's connected to sexuality, and how like, what the fuck, why even is that,
Mhm.
and also everything around body image and everything. And and I had this memory of being like, I don't know, like I was a teenager, but like, or maybe more of a child, but I was with that friend, and I was super good in my body, and I was fine being naked. I didn't even have awareness of
Mm.
me being naked or whatever. And I remember her being like really shy. Like, she was like, no, 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 I cannot, like, if I have to change to put my swimsuit on. I remember we were at her
Mhm.
place, she had a pool, and she was like, I need to go in the bathroom, and and she made like a big deal of it, like, no, no,
Mhm.
and I was curious, and I was like, oh, but why is that? And she was like, no, that's just how I am. And I think I
Mm.
love to surround myself with people that like really like activate me, and I'm a little bit like, as I said, like I love to be a bit intimidated with the people that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I really
Mm-hmm.
looked up to that girl, and I was like, she's cool. And I think I made the connection, oh, so that is cool, to create a character that doesn't really want to show that is, I don't know why, but I was like, if she's doing it and I think she's super cool, maybe there is something cool about it.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating. The programming that arrived right there. Wow.
So
That's so
I was
cool.
in my shower, and I had those memories of also taking showers when I was a young child with my girlfriends, and
Mm-hmm.
like there were no sexual thing, of course, and it was just like just so cool to don't care and to play in the water, and that's the kind of weird thing that I want to bring back. It's like, now it's weird why it is even weird. Like, I say it's weird because I feel like I've been told it's weird, but to my soul it's like the norm, and how it should be in my world, that's it. I want to have more naked showers with my friends.
You're like, come over, girls. We're having a naked shower party.
I want to do those things with my body as well. Like that sounded weird, but I was thinking the other day. I was cooking, and I was making this smoothie, and with frozen fruits, and they were way too frozen. And I put my hands into it, and it was burning cold. When the cold is like, ugh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I was listening to an audiobook from Joe Dispenza, and he was saying something about like a vision he had in his garden, walking barefoot on the snow, and he couldn't feel he could feel the cold, but it was almost enjoyable because he did not had any judgment. And I'm doing the thing with the smoothie that is really cold, and I'm hearing that in the audio that I'm listening, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm really attached to the judgment of cold. Like, I hate cold so bad. I love to be warm. Everyone is making fun of me because I could live in like a sauna all the time. When you enter your car and it goes outside in the heat, like in the sun, and it's like everyone is like cannot breathe, and they're like, open the doors, and I'm like, I'm just
you like that? Oh my god, wow. Okay, cool.
I'm like, maybe I was living in hell and it was really hot, but I don't know. I don't know. I really love that. So the cold is like creating so much tension in my body. As I was baking my smoothie, I'm trying to come back full circle. As I was
like the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Love it.
I was like, you know what? I had a vision of me being outside with friends and playing with our bodies of like, oh, I'm gonna take a piece of this smoothie very cold and put it like on your chest, and just I'm gonna see how you're gonna react, and then maybe because it's juicy, and then I'm gonna lick my fingers, and I'm gonna lick your chest, and it doesn't have to be this sexual taboo thing. It's just like we're gonna play with our bodies. That's the kind of weird thing that I want to do. It's like going back to that innocence again of like, this is cold, let's play together, like to just see how it feels.
I love it. And you're so connected to so many things. Yesterday I was in the car with a friend, and she was telling me about like the week before she was in Costa Rica, and she was having a fruit ceremony, and there were a bunch of 10 people. The only rule was to not eat the fruit, but just to play with the fruit, to feel the fruit, to put the fruit in everyone's bodies and to enjoy it, and a little bit like what you describe. So I feel like it's coming, it's happening, it's gonna happen in your life soon.
It is I'm already doing that by myself now. I stopped eating at a table. I'm eating on the floor by myself. I stopped listening to, I usually have a podcast or an audiobook when I'm eating by myself, and I don't anymore. I'm just with myself and with my food. I'm touching my food because traveling to India, I realized, people are eating with their hands. At some point you adapt to the culture. It changed my relationship to food and to eating and to rules even. I'm like, why do we even use cutlery? It's just because that's the way we do things. Like I don't want to, because when I touch my food, my senses, I'm so much more present. That's why I'm so obsessed with like this sensual eating thing, and I'm doing it at every meal now. And like with everything,
Mm.
it can become so much pleasure. I had quinoa yesterday. The quinoa, like all the little tiny grains of each quinoa, I could feel it, you know, and I could feel like also the
Mm.
bitterness of it. And
Mm.
and I put some spices, and I just want to like, yeah, just more spice, more senses involved, more sensuality.
Oh, I love it. Ah, you took me on a sensual journey of eating right now. I was in it.
Let's have food
Ah,
together.
yeah. No, I love that. Ah.
There's something so powerful about it. There's something so powerful. I was crying yesterday when I had my food
Mm.
because I've been
Mm.
using my masculine energy to
Mm-hmm.
commit to that. Like I'm gonna do my sensual eating
Right.
practice every day. And then when I'm in it, it's just the feminine. It's just the pleasure. It's just the play.
Mm.
It's just the senses. And I was crying because you feel so connected. It's not a thought, like doing all this gratitude thing, like you need to be grateful again.
Mm.
The spiritual community of being like, do your gratitude list and bring in gratitude. But it happens in the head. And I do this.
Mm.
I'm guilty of that. That's why I say it happens in the head, is because when I do my gratitude list
Mm.
in the morning, I need to think,
Mm.
okay, so I'm grateful for this. And I'm trying to bring in the feeling, and I feel grateful.
Mm.
But when I'm just sensual eating, I'm just in the moment. I'm not thinking about gratitude. I'm not thinking about, oh, I'm
Mm.
grateful for my food. But when my mouth tastes all the flavors, there's
Ah.
something that happens in my whole system of like, this flavors right here right now.
Mm.
It's possible because there were grain in the earth, and there were rain, and there was sun, and there were so many people involved
Mm.
in that. And I don't think, I feel it, and I feel all the people involved in that very tiny little piece of fruit or whatever I put in my mouth. It brought me to tears. Like if you think about it, if you actually think about it, like how many souls are involved in just
Mm.
that tiny bite of food, between the people
Mm.
that water it, are like harvested and transported. And even like if you think about it deeper, it's like, okay, someone transported it, someone had to build a truck, and someone has to build the pieces of the trucks, and then you expand, and you're like, and at some point you cannot see further, and you're like, I don't know how to describe that, but it like wraps the whole planet and the whole world, and you suddenly understand like we are all one, and there is just right here right now, and you understand everything that the books are saying because you're living it, because you're so present.
I love it. I'm just feeling it right now. Phew! Thank you. That was powerful and beautiful and sensual. I have a question. Why do you speak English and run business in English when you're French and based in France? I was wondering.
Mm. I don't like to use the hate word, but I think for a long time I was really really rejecting my country. Yeah, for a long time I felt like I couldn't fit anywhere. I couldn't fit at school. I couldn't find any friends that had the same, like everything that I mentioned. Like it was always present within me, this knowledge, this desire. And I just, I was craving for love, and I wasn't finding it because I was not finding it in myself and whatever. But then I came home, and I felt like I didn't fit in. So, and then I traveled, like, and I had always this curiosity again when I was, even before I was able to travel, when I was hearing someone speaking another language in the street, oh my God, I
Mm.
want this liberation again. I was just going to talk to them. I was just like,
Mm.
I heard you talking another language, just talk to me. And I was going to
Mm.
those meetings, how do you call it? Like, where people talk different languages, and I was just so
Mm.
fascinated with other cultures, because it was
Mm.
expanding my mind so much of like, there are other people doing things in another way, like in a radical other way. And and then I traveled, and of course it expanding my mind so much. And I don't there's this thing with friends where I really wanted to run away from this country. I don't feel like it's my place. And I'm really trying to bring awareness to it and to make peace with it. And being locked for almost a year now in France, in my hometown, in my parents' house,
Oh my God.
when it was not planned at all. And when I, as soon as I, left school and stuff, I was going further and further. I moved to 2 hours from my hometown, and then I moved to the south of France, and then I moved to, I was just always trying to expand and move further and further. And I just was obsessed with going abroad and going as far as I could. I think I was searching for something, like craving something, and also running away from something. I think in both ways, it was just myself. I was running away from parts of myself that I felt like if I was, changing country, I will leave that part of me in France. The thing is, I was still with myself, so she was following me anyway. She was there anyway. I was craving everything that I mentioned. I think I was always craving this community, and I thought that, if I explore the world, I will find it outside myself. And then I took the decision, going back to like the question of like my business and everything. And so I traveled a bit, and most of my friends, like I don't know, but I have most of my friends are not French, because again, I find it exotic. And all of my French friends, most of them, I met them abroad. I met them in London when I was living in London, or I met them when I was traveling, or, like I love French people when they're outside of France. And I think there is something about it. And I was like, I cannot even express myself in French. I'm saying that because it's all new for me. I would say like it came with that big transformation I went through in the last 7 months. Now I'm talking in French, and I can even like guide people into like ceremonies and stuff in French, which is like, I thought I could never do it. I think the English was also a little bit of a way to I want to say hide, but it's not hide, because I was actually showing a part of me that I was too afraid to show in French. So it was giving it was giving myself permission to show a part of me that I was too afraid. And I was, if it's in another language, then your voice changes a little bit, and you can also be a little bit of another person. Now I feel grounded enough to also be grounded in French, but I still want to leave my country.
I love what you said, that speaking English has allowed you to show a part of yourself that you were scared to show in French. So in a way, you were showing more of yourself, but a little bit with the mask of like a different language or a different tone in your voice. Or
yeah, exactly.
I love that. Aren't places so activating? Like I find places so activating of different parts of me. I feel like you do that too.
Yeah,
Activating yourself through places. Yeah.
What is running through my body right now is just so intense. I'm trying to make that decision for a month. Like I'm drawn to different places, and I know I wanted to make sure that this time I was not running away or looking for something. So I took this time and I forced myself to sit with my pain, to sit with the discomfort, and to not try to find healing in a new place. Because I could see that I could see that, I could see this, how do you call it? This narrative playing out of, I'm going to run all corners of this earth until I find myself. So I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to also, there is this connection with like ancestors and family and, all this stuff being here. For me, it's like the least place I would want to be. Like the last, like, I don't know how to word that. But anyway, and actually I remember that every time, like I'm always moving to a different country. I'm always like, every year I was choosing a new place to explore, because as you said, there is this activation that happens because I feed almost, I feed on that. I get myself penetrated and imprinted with like an energy of the space. And now I'm trying to make this decision that is like, I feel like it's like the most scary decision I ever made, to just take some holidays and go to fucking Mexico, you know. But
I love it.
the fact that you mention it right now, there is a lot running through my body, because I know, like, I feel like my intuition, my soul, or however you want to call it, knows that there is some activations for me there, but my body is like resisting it. So I'm in like this war in between.
Really?
Yeah.
Your body is resisting it. Okay. So can you tell me more about that? Because I feel like your body is used to going places. So what do you think is the resistance?
I don't know. I mean, I know. I mean, it's fear. You know, it's fear. But I enjoy. Like, we talk about it in the podcast we did when I interviewed you. Like, I also had this place of like, I love to be shit scared and to do scary things, because I always grow from it, and I'm always searching for challenges. Like, sometimes a little too much. I struggle to settle. You know, to be like, nothing is happening. It's boring. Let's create some fear in my life. But this time, I think it's leaving behind an archetype, like as if, you know, I wear this jacket for a while, and I got kind of like, at first I didn't like this jacket so much, but now I'm comfortable. It's like I'm really comfy in this jacket, and you know, I've outgrown the jacket. I cannot fit into the jacket anymore, but I'm still, I don't really want to let it go, and I feel like this is a part of me. And on Saturday with the Awakened Goddess, we did this ceremony of death and rebirth, because we were opening the space. So we were actually letting a part of us die, and, you know, using the fire to alchemize it, and like actually be willing to let die something. It's a very difficult process, because it's not like this full moon ceremony where you go and you burn papers about your self-sabotage and this version of you don't want anymore, because this is too easy to do that. I've done that my whole life, and I've burned so many papers, but nothing happened, you know?
I've burned so many papers, but I still self-sabotage it.
Yeah. So it was more in the sense of like, I'm taking this and I'm actually putting it into the fire, and it means a lot. It means that I need to grieve also this part that I actually want to let go, but of course there is a part of me that is attached to it, because somehow if I had it, it was serving me. And I think for me right now is this healing bubble. I was like, I'm going to take this time to really heal and really grow my business, and go through this journey that I felt like I was postponing for 5 years, because I was always using the excuse of being in a relationship. I can't do it because I have a partner, and you know, yeah, that was an interesting part of it. And so, but now I'm like, okay, get your shit together now. Like, all the things that you're postponing for 5 years, do it now. The last 7 months have been that, and I'm in a cocoon here. I mean, I'm back at my parents' house. I never had such a great relationship with my parents. I actually enjoy being there, like being here with them. Like, it's like I cannot even recognize myself saying that. Sometimes, you know, like, well, I don't see them that often now because my rhythm is a bit different, but sometimes my dad will go away for the day and I will miss my dad. And I'm like, how can I say that? I always wanted to be as far as I could, not talking to them anymore. Like, I was really taking distance. So I feel like I've done this healing. I healed my heart. I healed my relationship with myself and stuff. And like, I know my body, like my soul knows that now it's time to not be in that bubble, but be out there, you know? And it's like, so it's like my body's like, are we ready though? So yeah.
Wow, cool. That was so beautiful to hear. It's so beautiful. Like, I hear that you've been running away from France most of your adult life, at least. You've been somehow you felt forced to go back to France with the pandemic and you felt blocked, but now you've learned to love your French self and like that jacket on you, like that you like it, and you've healed your heart after all those relationships that were excuses for not following your purpose, and you've deepened your relationship with your parents. And now, because of this parental cocoon where they're probably taking care of you, in some ways, you've been able to heal and rest and create your business and be a badass. It's so beautiful. I'm getting chills out of it listening to you. And yeah, now you have this opportunity to literally fly out of the cocoon for the next step. And whew, it's big. It's
Yeah,
big.
I'm
Aww.
getting so emotional right now, because
Me too.
I feel like it has been like literally like
Mm.
such a deep transformation. And just looking back, I cannot believe it. And I feel
Mm.
so grateful for, I feel so much grace out of this chaos. And I'm so proud of myself. And I'm so proud of, like,
Mm.
the tiny little me, that was so
Mm.
broken a few months ago. And that
Mm.
rose so high that now I can say, like, I've integrated some stuff so deep that it's my new normal. And when
Mm.
I take a moment to look back, I was like, just a few months ago, that was not your normal. And yeah, this is really beautiful. And this is again a kind of a painful process to let go of this version of me, to let her, like, she has done her
Mm.
time, and I know it. I know I don't need more healing. I know I don't need more cocoon. I know it. Wow.
Yeah, you don't need more healing, you don't need more cocoon, and you're proud of yourself. I love that. So happy to witness that right now.
So happy to be held into
Mm.
that, because you're putting this mirror in front of me, and it's also really activating and healing.
Thank you. Mm. Whew. I'm sure there's lots of people who were meant to hear this too and who are downloading all those insights and this medicine right now. If there is some people who feel stuck where your very old self was in using the relationship as an excuse for not honoring yourself, what would you share with them? And also to reflect on how far you are from that person now.
Oh, yeah, I will tell them, or I will tell my past self, I will tell her
Mm.
to to stop postponing, because it's like it's like an
Mm.
elastic. The more you feel like you're good, but then the elastic is gonna broke, and it's gonna come back to you
Mm.
so hard, and it's gonna hurt so hard. So the little discomfort. So I'm gonna pretend I'm talking to my in a like younger
Mm-hmm.
past self, and I will tell her, like, the pain, the little discomfort that you're trying to avoid by not having the difficult conversation, by not speaking your truth, by not taking this time for yourself. You're avoiding this thing, thinking that it's going to keep you safe, and it's going to keep you safe from feeling pain. The pain will be so much worse
Mm.
the day it's going to broke. So just do the things. Just do the things you want to do, even if it hurts as hell. Just listen to that fucking gut feeling. It's like, I've been really good to listen to my gut feelings to move places. I'm like, oh, I feel so drawn to go to the south of France. I feel so drawn to go to London. I feel so drawn to travel to India. But when it came to other gut feelings, I was not listening. Because if I think about this
Mm.
relationship that I just came out of, I had a gut feeling like week 2, and we stayed over a year together. Um,
Wow.
it's really like, listen to yourself, and yeah, really listen to your intuition no matter what, and not like not being like, I would tell myself like, don't fucking be afraid that they stop loving you one day, because if they do, like, you don't want them anyway, like you don't want them, so don't, like, I felt like I was bargaining, you know, like, oh, like maybe I can exchange a little bit of this against a little bit of love, please. And I had like wonderful relationships as well, like, I'm not gonna, you know, but yeah, I would say that to my past self. And I think I needed to learn the hard way, to learn that it's, you know, all the times that I walked on eggshells of like, I don't, like, I'm gonna say what I feel, but I'm gonna say it, like, maybe I will even say what I mean, like what I actually want to say, but I will say it with such a voice that I disconnect a little bit from myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would tell, like, so we had a lot of issues communicating with my ex-girlfriend, and I will tell her, okay, let's have this system in place. Instead of saying like, who are you talking to on your phone? Really passive aggressive.
Oh, just plain aggressive.
Yeah, just aggressive. We will say, hey honey, do you need reassurance? Or I would love reassurance right now. And then we could do that. But then we will go into like the baby voice. We'll be like, yeah, I think I need reassurance. You know,
I
because
know that one. I know.
Because it's kind of cute, and because you're hiding behind the voice. When actually your soul is like, please hold me. I'm afraid right now, and I want to share it with you. This, and being able to receive, because it's great to reach that point where you can actually ask for reassurance, even if it's with the baby voice, but then the other person is giving you reassurance that you actually want, but you're so disconnected from yourself. And when I say you, I say me. I was so disconnected from myself that I couldn't receive. You know, she was telling me like, but no, of course, you know, I love you, whatever reassurance I needed in this moment, but I was hearing it, but I was not receiving it. So the best advice I could give my past self is to reconnect with herself, because when she's present to herself, she can know the gut feeling, she can know what she's feeling and what she's needing, so any relationship will go okay, because she has her own back, because she knows what's fucking going on inside. And voice it, fucking express it. Like, I would tell her, when you're mad, just be mad, not at the other person, be mad on your own, voice it, and then have the communication, have the interaction. Like, let's talk about the things we don't want to talk about. Let's talk about the hard things. Let's have the hard conversation. I actually wrote a whole manifesto after this breakup of like I wrote like sort of like my non-negotiable of like another relationship, and that's what I apply to myself. And I wouldn't expect less from it, you know. I'm like, some friends, when sometimes I was feeling down and still crying over my ex, and they were like, just go on a dating app. And I was like, fuck off, I'm too premium to do this kind of
thing. I love that.
And I'm like, Dad, no. Like, no way. No fucking way. I'm not a product on the shelves. And it feels so good to be in that place. Because I was never really single. I mean, I was sometimes, that I was like dating around and sleeping around, and now I don't even feel single. I like, that's like the second time that I voice it. First of all, because I spent a few months still being in my head in relationship with my ex. To be
I love that. So good.
But also because now I'm in relationship with myself so deeply. And I'm also giving myself permission to crave now like connection again, and to be like, okay, now, you know, because I also went a little I'm a Libra, so I can be in the extreme. And I was like, no, you're going to like, you're not going to outsource anything. Everything is going to be self-sourced. So your love, I need to be all of it for myself. So I'm like really strong into that. And it feels good. I'm like, I can, like, I'm like, I feel strong. I'm like the 2 or 3 or whatever, how many people you want to have in a relationship. I'm all of them for myself. And it feels good. And it's allowing myself also, you're human. It's okay to want to connect with other people, and there's this connection. But I think I'm craving it in a totally different way now. I just want to have like showers with friends, and playing with cold smoothies with friends. That's the connection. I think that's the type of connection. And yeah, so I hope that answered your question.
Hell yes. I don't even remember the question. I'm writing with you and I love it. Yeah, it's so beautiful. I can see how much you've evolved. What's your zodiac? You said you're Libra, and what else?
I'm a rising Sagittarius and a moon in Virgo.
I knew you had some Sagittarius in there with all this traveling and moving around. I can see it because I've got some Sagittarius too. And I was like, Saggy sister.
Yeah.
For sure. I know the feeling.
Freedom is a big deal for me, indeed. Exploring and freedom in every way possible.
Yeah, I saw you post on your Instagram lately, asking people what they think freedom is, what freedom is to them. What is it to you? I asked it first.
Freedom, wow, that's a big one. I think that's like, if I had to do my top 3 values, freedom comes first. Because freedom is like just free. It's more like liberated in a way of like, you don't have containers anymore, and you can be the actress of your life because you can play. So it's like freedom to be one person one day, freedom to be another person. It's sourcing my own truth of like, what is true to me in this moment. If you extend that, of course, it's like, I'm not like, I never understood borders. Like, we have a land, we have planet Earth, and someone decided one day, this, like, I'm gonna draw an imaginary line, and this is gonna be mine. And you're gonna need papers and authorization to move from one piece of land to another. Like, my mind I cannot understand that. That is freedom to me. It's like, who created those fucking rules that we are following, and the way things should be. I just don't get it. It's like with the eating or the traveling, like, why do we, like, I don't understand those rules. So freedoms to me is like creating your own rules from the highest place in yourself, from body feeling, from like, what is it really that I decide to believe in, that I decide to do, that I decide to be, that I decide to express. Also being free of expressing myself is a big one. I think for a long time I was seeing healers for years and be like, I have blockages in my throat chakra, I cannot fucking do it. And I was doing all those healings, but it's like burning paper. I was doing that again and again and talking about my throat chakra, but it wouldn't change. And now I have a fucking podcast where I get to talk all the time, and I need to restrain myself from talking because I'm talking too much. And I'm like, how can I?
What do you mean too much?
Yeah, we're trying not to, but there's still this thing of like not being able to take so much space, which is fucking stupid. Fuck that. But at the same time, it's also really present. So love that. Fuck that. Love that. It's okay.
Yeah.
Expression is a big one for me. And expression can mean like my voice and like having this hard conversation and being myself no matter what. So going through these different archetypes during my days, and also expressing through my work and expressing in the way that I want to do. Like, growing this business has been a psychedelic journey for sure. And I followed rules again that didn't apply, like, because I wanted my business to work. So I followed rules of other whatever coach that I was, following or whatever. And it's every time I did that, I disconnected from my own truth. And I never made more money and signed up more clients since I've been like fully myself. That is freedom to me as well. It's like I have a rule, I bring awareness to it, and I'm free to change it. Like I'm free to agree to it, or I'm free to reject it, and I'm free to create something new and to express in a way that is so unique to me. I think what I do is, even at a wider like perspective, like, you know, I've learned yoga, I've learned different styles of yoga, and then I've, you know, got a Reiki training, and then I learn about Tantra, and then I learn about any other thing. And I couldn't put the pieces together because, again, I was trying to follow a tradition. And I think for me, at least, freedom is so deeply honoring the tradition because it's not even a need. It's like, duh, of course, being grateful. Like, we wouldn't be where we are if we didn't have those teachings and those, you know, lineage. But then is being a leader of like, I'm not gonna just try to do like a yoga plus Reiki plus this plus that, and like it's like a puzzle that doesn't really fit together. It's like, I'm just gonna create a thing where we're gonna do weird things, and I'm gonna be inspired by all those traditions, but there is just so much freedom. My version of freedom as well is that it's not just for me, because it doesn't mean shit if I'm the only one to be free. You know, it's like I want that we're free together. What is your definition of
Thank
freedom?
you.
I went on a tangent here.
I loved it. I don't think it was a tangent. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for your answer. Freedom. One big thing for me is I feel free when I'm completely in love. When I'm not, when there is no fear, I feel completely free. When I'm not acting out of fear or making decisions out of fear or out of misalignment or out of thinking, you know, decisions from the mind, but like not the, it's okay to use the mind. The mind is, you know, great at thinking about stuff, but you know, like the toxic, unhealthy mind. So when this is not in the space, I feel free. When I'm totally aligned, connected to my intuition, and my heart is clean, I feel so free, totally free. And for me, it goes with a lot of honesty, because and I think sometimes that created problem earlier in life because I was very honest, and a bit similar to you. There's so many rules that I didn't understand. And I also didn't understand why we spoke different languages and why we had different countries. And I was like, this is so weird. Why aren't we all friends? And I didn't understand why my mom was vacuuming the floor before we had guests. Because I was like, well, are you vacuuming just before they arrive? Are you like ashamed that it's dirty? Like, why don't you want to just show them how it is? And then she was like, no, but it's kind to do that. And I got it later, you know, like, but I felt like I could sense when it was coming from something that to me in my body wasn't feeling pure or wasn't feeling like honesty. So I think honesty is a big one for me, like transparency. If I feel like I'm not being transparent and honest, I'm like, well, I'm not free. I'm trying to hide things, or, you know.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. And then obviously also the physical freedom and freedom of expression. I feel though that I've had a lot of physical freedom. So yeah, I mean, I've been so blessed. I've been traveling the world, and yeah, I've been so blessed. So yeah, I think maybe with physical freedom, I take it for granted as well, because I've only lived in countries where there's a lot of physical freedom. You know, I was born in France. Like, we have amazing human rights compared to a lot of other countries. So yeah, vibration of love and honesty is like pure freedom for me.
It's incredible because my top three, I'm not kidding. My top three is like, I have freedom, honesty, love. Like,
yeah.
and
Mine is freedom,
just,
honesty, and kindness. I'm big on like kindness. I think it's just the best.
that's just the words that you.
Freedom, honesty, and kindness and love. Here we go.
Yeah.
That's the world we're creating.
100%.
How are you feeling now?
So good. So good.
Yeah.
So good. Like, I feel let's come full circle to how I feel in the beginning and to expectations and everything. I think the first time I felt very grounded in my being after and really like activated. And right now I feel flowing. Like, I feel the energy like circulating, you know, I feel that. motion that circulate. How do you feel?
I feel very calm and centered. Yeah, I like it. I feel very grounded, and my legs are like, my feet are on the ground, my legs are like open, like I feel very like kind of goddess pose, rooted, centered. Yeah. Is there a spell you want to cast before we close the space?
I don't have anything calming. I feel very complete. Do you have anything?
There's prayers of love for everyone around me. I feel like there's something else. Okay. I am opening a portal of fame. I am stepping into fame.
Yes.
And so it is. And so it is.
And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is.
Thank you for sharing this space.
Thank you for holding the space for me. That was amazing to be a guest on my own podcast. I could have done that the whole day. Like, just Mathilde, hold me. I'm here.
Thank you. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
I loved it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. For more free resources, online courses, spiritual events, coaching containers, and deep initiation work, visit my website and let's connect on Instagram.